What's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OGGM, coming to you live at 2:28 p.m. in the afternoon on this, the 18th day of October, 2023. And the weather has turned spooky, dark, and cloudy and gloomy, which is weird because if you look at the weather thing on the computer, it says it's bright and sunny. So, aliens? Now, as you guys may or may not know, I make some stuff. And I publish that stuff. And I publish some stuff through the Red Room Wretched line. And recently we've been doing the Wretched Beastery, Wretched Minions, where I do these sort of little zines focused on one specific creature or monster from the vast universe of monsters. And then I finish it and Miguel publishes it. And then I go, man, there was more things I should have added. Oh, well. So today we're going to take a look at Wretched Reptiles, which just went live on the stores of places. It's a PDF only. It's too small to be POD, I think, unless Miguel really wants it to be POD. But I think for like 10 pages, that seems to feel like I'm not going to make you pay $10 for 10 pages, right? But that's just me. Anyway, so yeah, it's Reptiles. First, it was going to be Reptiles and Insects, but then Miguel wanted to split it up between Reptiles being one book, Insects being the name book one. So I looked into a bunch of Reptiles. And the great thing about doing ones based upon stuff that's in the real world is I am learning so much crap about this one. So here's the cover. Is that TJ Storm? And I'm just going to go to the very end here. So this is the footnotes. 30 footnotes. Man, the stuff I gotta say, man, if nothing else, I am learning a ton of crap that somebody my age probably should have already known. And this might be, so yeah, here are Reptiles. And I split it up in real world reptiles, snakes and stuff, and lizards every day, fantastic reptiles, and then I added in kaiju because of course you got to have kaiju if you're doing reptiles, and then I added in dinosaurs because dinosaurs are cool, and if you don't have dinosaurs in your game, well, then I'm not playing your game. Every game should have dinosaurs in it, right? Dinosaurs are cool. Doesn't even matter if dinosaurs don't fit the genre. There should be dinosaurs. Why are there dinosaurs in your James Bond game? Dinosaurs. And then finally, I added dragons. And I wasn't sure if we were going to do dragons in this one or dragons in a separate one. But Miguel said, do dragons in this one. And if it's popular enough, we could always do a larger, more complex look at dragons later on. So consider these sort of like an appetizer. If they do well and people want to revisit that specific creature, be it undead or goblins or whatever, then I can go back and do a much larger one. And if other sides people go like, that one was dumb, I never really want to see you do dinosaurs again, then I won't. So there are a lot of reptiles, a lot of reptiles. In fact, there are 9,200 species of reptiles. Obviously, I was not going to put 9,200 different species of reptiles in this book. It would be huge. So instead of just focused it on the cool ones. And we have some, reptile facts, of course, like, the most dangerous reptile in the world is the king cobra. The safest reptile in the world is the box turtle. Now, here's one I didn't know. What is the most popular reptile in the world? Now, you would think it's popular based upon the number of sales, right? Or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, Barney's got to be the most popular dinosaur in the world, right? No, the Komodo dragon is by the most popular reptile in the world. Which is, now you would be like, well, why? Nobody has a pet Komodo dragon, do that? Why is that the most popular? Because there are more searches per day on the internet worldwide about the Komodo dragon than any other member of the reptile kingdom, even more so than dinosaurs. So we've got Komodo dragon on the brain. And then, of course, there is a urban myth about Komodo dragons and what they do when they kill creatures. But turns out that's not true. So for the longest time, we thought that Komodo dragons carry a bacteria inside their mouths, which why this makes them so deadly. They're considered while not venomous, way more deadly than like a snake, because they bite you and then this bacteria gets in your bloodstream and it just kills you. Well, that's not true. It turns out, actually, in matter of fact, Komodo dragons are one of, if not the cleanest reptile in the reptile kingdom. They are also highly resistant to poison and diseases. What it is they generate a natural anticoagulant in their saliva. So when they bite something, if the thing starts gets away and starts bleeding, it doesn't clot, which allows the Komodo dragon to just sort of track you down at its leisure and get you later on, because you're bleeding and you're not going to stop bleeding. And if you can't get to medical attention in that time, the Komodo dragon figures the cow will bleed out. Now, obviously the Komodo dragon doesn't really know the difference between us and cows. It doesn't know that we can get in a car. But from a Komodo dragon, if it bites you, bleed. And then Komodo dragon's like, oh, I'll catch up with you eventually. You're going to keep bleeding. It's not like you can go anywhere. And I don't have the kind of energy to run. So yeah, that's cool. Scary, but cool. Yeah. So first, let's take a look at some reptiles. And of course, I had to add the Teenage Mutant Ninja reptiles as well. So first, normal ones. Now, obviously, again, I'm not going to do every single solitary normal reptile on the planet because, I should probably show you this. Probably help. There we go. Hey, is that TJ Storm? So here it is. Here's all the different stuff I found out about it. So we got normal reptile. And first, of course, including with normal snakes, I had to do pet snakes. Like, did you know your average pet snake could live up to 30 years? And the initial cost of setting up a snake housing is going to be about $400, which an initial cost of $150 for care and feeding, and about $30 a month to feed them. They make great pets for evil villains. So standard pet snake. Then we got vipers and the rules for vipers. The other great thing about this one was I didn't really have to do a lot of work on art. Turns out there are a lot of pictures of snakes in the real world. So yeah, viper and the rules for vipers. And we got, of course, the spitting vipers, giant constrictor, real largest snake in the world, the green anaconda, 18 feet long and 300 pounds. Yike. Giant venomous. There is a viper called the gaboon viper that is 4 feet long and can weigh up to 25 pounds. So you don't need to make any of these things up for your snake-themed dungeon. There is a 25-pound venomous snake out there. That's just frightening. Then, of course, we had some made-up ones as well. And then here's some nightmare fill for you. When I wanted to look up largest snake ever, thankfully, as far as we know, this snake no longer exists. There is proof of something that is affectionately referred to as the Titan boa. Its fossils were discovered in the 2000s in some caves in La Guardia, South America. This snake was 42 feet long and could weigh up to 1,600 pounds. I just want you to think about this. That somewhere out there at some point in time, there was a 42-foot long snake that weighed 1,000 or more pounds. And as far as we know, it is extinct. But considering how much of South America rainforest we still haven't explored, maybe not. And they're still finding fossils for it in the year 2000. So that is your kaiju snake for you. There's some nightmare fuel for you if you live in South America. Moving on to lizards, of course. The Komodo dragon, the flying lizard, the Gila monster, which is venomous. Then we got some fictional lizards. Then we got a giant lizard for, fantasy, the giant riding lizard for all your underground races. Then we got the lizard kaiju. So if you go back to some early B movies, 1950s, 1960s, Valley of Gwangi, Land That Time Forgot, like that, you know what they would do, right? Is they would get somebody's pet snake or they would get somebody's pet reptile, or they would go to the zoo or a pet store and, borrow an iguana, and then they would film the iguana, and then they'd superimpose the pictures of the iguana against the backdrop of the city. And that is how you would have a giant dinosaur, giant lizard trampling through the city in 1950s B movies. So that's cool. And we got the rules for kaiju. And then, of course, I had to add Godzilla. But, of course, I couldn't call it Godzilla. So here is Wretchedzilla, our kaiju. He is a fire-breathing dinosaur. Then we move on to crocodiles and turtles. We got real crocodiles, real tortoises. The longest living land animal in the world, can live up to 150 years. Snapping turtles. Fantastic giant riding turtles. Alligators. Kaiju alligators. There is a movie. There's a lot of kaiju alligator movies on Prime if you dig deep enough. Were Shark versus Mega Croc was one of the favorite ones I found. Scientists mixes shark DNA, wolf DNA to create a werewolf shark that has to fight a giant crocodile. Werewolf shark. Okay. That's a real movie. I didn't make that up. That's just awesome that exists. Then we have, of course, Kaiju Turtle, based on Gamera, who's, if you're receiving a bit of cinematic love lately, there's a brand new Gamera series on Netflix. Gamera was always one of my favorites because he was like a good guy, and he was always like showing up and helping the ungrateful humans. Moving on to then we enclose dinosaurs. And I have references to each of the Power Ranger colors that the dinosaurs are associated with. So here we've got your T-Rex, red, your Raptor, brown, your Triceratops, blue, Ankylosaurus is in there just because it's my favorite. Undead T-Rex. We have the rules for lizard folk and snake folk, if you want to add dragon folk, lizard folk, and snake folk to your Richard game. And then finally, we end up with dragons. I did also, of course, have to throw in the adolescent black belt radioactive herbivores and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There was a comic book in 1986 called Adolescent Radioactive Black Belt Hamsters. It was written by my friend Patrick Parsons, who recently sadly passed away. So obviously I had to toss in rules for making anthropomorphic reptile characters. And then Palladium announced that they're re-releasing TNMT. So yeah, so thank you. Yeah. So tip of the hat to my old friend and the adolescent black belt. So here are the rules for making anthropomorphic. And then finally we end up with dragons and the 3 different types of dragons. Again, I didn't go into every possible dragon. So I only covered just sort of a basic premiere, an appetizer, if you will, of the different types of dragons. And if you guys want me to go back and do dragons, a larger dragon one, then I will. So we got the false dragons, and the typical false dragon would be like a wyvern or the snapdragon, because I can't call it a pseudo dragon because that's copyright. So I called it a snapdragon. Then we have the lesser dragons, which are your smaller dragons, the ones you're more likely to meet in a typical wretched fantasy adventure or any fantasy adventure. And then the forest dragon or the green dragon is one I would say is like a lesser dragon. And a hydra. And then of course we got the greater dragon. And obviously if you're going to go greater dragon, you got to go smog, red dragon. You just got to go with smog. So here's smog for wretched. And then of course I also threw in the undead dragon, because when normal dragons aren't mean enough, let's make an undead dragon, because yeah, why not? I go into why it is I think dragons collect gold, and I collected a couple of the different theories throughout fantasy literature of why it is dragons have gold. And then I come up with some rules for generating dragon lairs and the treasures you might find in dragon lairs. And then, of course, we have the rules and rules clarifications. What is the difference between poison and venom? According to my niece, poison is ingested, venom is injected. Then we have the 30 footnotes, 30 different things I had to look up to do this, and the other legal stuff. So there we go. This is available now. It's one of the larger ones. It's slightly more expensive. I think it's $350 because of just the amount of stuff I had to learn. And you think this one's big. What do you see? Insects. Insects is even bigger and got more stuff I had to look up. There are a lot of freaking insects out there. And of course, you know, when you're looking up any real world animal, you tend to find things out there that are kind of like, I didn't need to know that. I didn't need to know there was a 1,000-pound snake out there at one point in time, and that it might still be out there. So there you go. It's available now on Giant Slayer Games through the link down below, or directly through their web, the Red Room. Oh boy, I need coffee. Red Room website. So if you want to support me, click the link down below. Pick this up, PDF. It's got a whole bunch of reptiles in it, and if you appreciate it, I'll do more. You know, if you let me know. You want to see more in-depth coverage of dragons for Wretched / OGL OSR? I'll do that. You want to see more coverage of goblins? Goblins, I think I have to revisit anyways, or undead or whatever. Any of the other ones, pick them up. I've done goblins so far, undead, just reptiles. Coming soon is insects. That should be next week. Slime. And I'm doing now cryptids and stuff like that. And urban myths. That one's going to be huge. Yeah, it's already like 30 pages because I'm doing every state's cryptids. Did you know every state has a Bigfoot? Like every city in every state has a Bigfoot. Like every country in the world has a Bigfoot. That Bigfoot wide gets out there. Thank you, Joe Koo, for stopping by. And thank you, Dice Tales, for stopping by. I will do bigger ones if that's what people want. Yeah. But of course, at the end of the day, I am, you know, an employee of Miguel and Sylvia. So you got to go over to Wretched and tell them that that's what you want to see. We want more OGGM stuff. He's awesome. Let them know. Please let them know. I think, you know, yeah. Not that I want to badmouth my bosses, but yeah, they definitely need to have me do more stuff for them. Don't they, guys? If you haven't subscribed, Joe, please take a moment to subscribe. Until then, you know, have a great day. Stay safe and avoid the giant reptiles. And obviously, once I got to just do this again, just because, you know, I can't pass up a chance to do this. Hey, is that TJ Storm? I'm never not going to make fun of you for being Godzilla, TJ. So just love the fact that you got to play Godzilla, and love the fact that any chance I get, I'm going to bring it up to my friend TJ Storm, mocapped Godzilla in the latest Godzilla movies. That's it for Wretched Reptiles. Link down below if you want to get your own copy of it and support me and support the Red Room. Thank you very much. Have a great day. I obviously need coffee because my brain is mush. See ya.